Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest Northern Ireland Safety Group podcast. I'm Ernie Spence, Secretary of the group, and today I have the pleasure of talking to Nicola Penman. Nicola is the Health and Safety Director at Training Solutions NI. Nicola, it's great to see you, and can I begin by thanking you for agreeing to talk with us. I just think it's been a really courageous thing to do, and I certainly hope that it'll help others who have been unfortunate enough to find themselves in the situation that you found yourself. In May 2016, Nicola was diagnosed with cancer. But the good news is she's now back to work and willing to talk about how the whole thing affected her. Can I also say, Nicola, that the last time we spoke you used a phrase which I think is terrific, which was, "I'm Nicola, not Nicola with cancer." I find this very moving, and it was what I was going to title the podcast. But look, enough of me. People will be wanting to hear what you've got to say. Could you start by explaining how you got your diagnosis and how did you feel on finding out?
Okay, good morning, Ernie. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope whatever I say today can maybe help someone else who will be in the same boat in the future, or maybe is sitting there listening to this today and is in that particular boat now. I was diagnosed with bowel cancer in a very, very strange way. I had a very slight symptom that may have been a problem with regards to my bowel. So it's bowel cancer that I had, and it was stage 3 bowel cancer. My colleague Donna had come in to talk to us in work to say that she was going to be going off on maternity leave. And I thought, because I had this slight symptom, which was a slight discharge, I would go and see the doctor, just in case there would be anything that could be kind of concern, so that it could be dealt with before Donna went on maternity leave. Never for a second thinking that it was anything at all that was sinister. I saw my GP, and she looked at me and thought I was a healthy looking specimen. She gave me all kinds of an examination, and she said, "I don't think there's anything wrong, Nicola, but we're going to send you to a specialist." Went to see the specialist, and this happened very, very quickly. The specialist looked at me, examined me, and said, "Nicola, I don't think there's a thing wrong. We're going to send you down to have a colonoscopy, just in case, just to make absolutely sure." So down I went to have the colonoscopy, but the only thought was that I had to take horrible medicine and that I had to have this embarrassing examination.
Wow.
And when I went down to the hospital and had the colonoscopy, it became sort of concerning that it was taking quite a bit of time and that the doctor seemed to have a concern. My experience was I was put in a bed, and everyone else who was having examinations that day came, went home, and then the doctor, when he finished, asked for my husband and I to come into a room, sat us down and said, "Right, Nicola, you have bowel cancer. This may have spread to your lungs and your liver. If so, it is palliative care. If it hasn't, it'll be major surgery. We don't know what it's going to be, so we're going to have to get you a CT scan." He then walked out of the room and left me sitting with a nurse and my husband. It was devastating, absolutely devastating, and at that particular time I would have said that it was a death sentence. That's exactly how I felt. That would have been my perception of having bowel cancer. That it would be a death sentence. My husband and I cried. We got out into the car. I didn't know how I was going to tell my family. I didn't know how I was going to tell my work family, my boss, my lovely colleagues, because we are a family. In the workplace, we work very well together, but we're a family. I just was totally devastated.
How long was it before you actually told Jim, your boss?
I told Jim, because we're close and we are a really close-knit group and a team, I phoned my sister, my twin sister, to tell her that I had bowel cancer first. I had to go down and see my mum, who's elderly, and I had to do it face to face so that I could look after her at the same time. I then, on the way home, phoned Jim Stewart, my boss, and said, "Jim, I've got bowel cancer."
My goodness. What was his reaction?
He was totally shocked out of his mind and terribly, terribly, terribly annoyed. He didn't know what to say. My first thing was, "I'll not be at work. I'm not be at work." "No, Nicola," he said, "don't be worrying about work or whatever it happens to be," because I thought I would never be back to work. I thought this was it. I was on my way out. So he then thought about it, and the next day he phoned me, and my next step was to have a CT scan, and that was going to be X number of weeks until I got that. He immediately said that, Nicola, I will pay for this, and you go and have this CT scan done as soon as possible. You need to know as soon as possible. But when I thought about it, I thought about what the whole situation was with continuity of care. And we're going to see someone privately would be wonderful, and it was a marvellous gesture on Jim's behalf, and a very generous one. I thought about the whole package with regards to cancer, and how that over the years, if I managed to live that amount of time, that I would need the support of the NHS. So I decided to wait until the NHS was able to fit me in, which wasn't too long.
So during your treatment then, which lasted how many months?
Well, the operation was done, so I was diagnosed on the 15th of May. My operation was on the 20th of July. And then on the 6th of September, I started 6 months chemotherapy. So you're really talking about 9 months with the operation, recovery of that, and then 6 months chemotherapy. Really 9 months was my treatment period.
And through that 9 months, were you off work?
No. Initially, I had the operation. I'm a fitness freak. I love to eat well. I love to exercise well. It's part of my own strategy to deal with with work-life balance. So therefore, the fact that I was so fit meant that I recovered from the operation very quickly. I was supposed to be in the hospital up to 2 weeks, but it was 5 days.
My goodness.
At home. And I think that was because of my fitness. And anybody who's out there who maybe has a problem, or maybe if you ever have to face it in your lifetime, maybe now's a good time to think about taking up a fitness, something to do with activity, to make yourself as fitted as well as possible.
Sure. So when did you come back to work?
I came back to work. We didn't think that I was going to have chemotherapy, but straight after the operation, I've got an appointment to come and see the specialist in August. So it was a situation that when they'd harvested lymph nodes, when they did the operation, some of those contained cancer. So I had to have chemotherapy. So the 6 months chemotherapy was a bit of a surprise, and I was going to have that.
Sure.
When I didn't know what to expect from chemotherapy. We think as females, we have the vanity thing to think, oh, what am I going to do about losing hair, and all these things about being sick, and all the awful things that people tell you about. But in actual fact, when you have to just man up and go in there and have it. And the chemotherapy is hard. It's very, very hard. But I find the way my chemotherapy went, I had 8 cycles of 3 weeks. So I went into the hospital and had an intravenous drip put in, which was very, very hard on me. Very, very hard. It was a very painful chemotherapy because it was to do with the bowel cancer that I'd had, and it was what they had given me. But for the first week, I then had to take tablets twice a day for 2 weeks. And then I had a week off that I didn't have any medication to get myself back to normal to be able to take the next cycle of chemotherapy. I found that when I'd had my first week of chemotherapy, I started to feel a wee bit better, and I thought, I'm going to try and go to work. So I worked for the 2 weeks after that. So I had 1 week off with chemotherapy. Now we are in a very fortunate position that we can work from home as well. So after a couple of days, I felt, let's put the computer on and see who's looking for me. And away I went and doing my work. Now that started me feeling like Nicola Penman, who works in Training Solution, a director, who's useful, and not somebody who's an invalid. And that was very, very important to me. I then thought, right, let's try and see if I can go into the office the last 2 weeks. Now, Donna was going off on maternity leave. It's very important to me to be able to do as much as I possibly could in the office, if I could, because we're a team and we don't want to let each other down. So I thought, I'll give this a go. There was no pressure put on me to do this. This was completely my own idea. But I managed the 2 weeks in the office and thought, happy days. Announced and said, this is the way it's going to go. I'm going to go in and have my chemotherapy. That week I'm awful, you don't want to see me, but the next 2 weeks I'm going to be in the office. And that's the way it worked right through chemotherapy.
And Jim obviously supported you through that.
He did support me. And not only that, I had no financial implications with regards to being here. Jim told me on the day that I was diagnosed, you'll be paid the whole way through this, Nicola, you'll be getting your full pay. So there was absolutely nothing in this world with regards to that I had to be in the office because I needed to get my money or whatever it happened to be. But then there's an independence in me that if somebody's paying me to work and I would be able in any way to work, well, I'm going to give him his money's worth. So I think I did that, and I feel proud of that, and I feel, yes, you did the very best that you possibly could. But it really helped me too.
So that aided to your recovery?
Absolutely. I felt as if I was in control and I was on top of the thing, rather than falling under chemotherapy. It would be so easy to go to bed and stay there for 6 months, and that would be detrimental beyond anything to your long-term recovery.
Wow.
And certainly to mine.
What's great is we've got Donna and Josie here, and they're going to speak in a few minutes. How did you break the news to them?
Well, Jim Stewart, as I say, I told him the day that on my way home from the hospital, on the day I was diagnosed, Jim contacted the girls and sat them down and talked to them and told them what it was. And apparently, and they'll tell you themselves, and I can think that they were devastated as well. But they were absolutely wonderful, and they have supported me superbly throughout the whole journey.
That's exceptionally good. So at no point did things become awkward?
No, at no point whatsoever. We could talk about what was wrong, and that is a big thing, is that we could actually talk. The thing about it was that the girls, and what I noticed was the girls stayed in control of themselves, so they didn't fall to pieces. They realised that I needed strong people to be supporting me, and that's exactly the way they were. So if I maybe had a down day or whatever it happened to be, there was always a hug, there was always a cup of coffee, and there was always a chat, and we could chat about any of the situations that I was in with regards to my treatment or whatever it was, and that was a marvellous benefit to me. But I asked them to be strong for me, and they kept that strength, whatever way they'll tell you, whatever way they were in their own time and whatever, but they always showed a very strong front.
That's terrific. Let's then maybe turn to Donna. How did you feel, Donna, when you heard from Jim about Nicola's diagnosis?
Shocked, extremely shocked. We were never expecting to hear that news at all. As you can see, Nicola is so fit and healthy, and never ever didn't look sick, never had any symptoms of being ill whatsoever in her personality or in her physical ability at all. So shock was the first thing.
Yeah.
Devastation, the second thing.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely gutted for Nicola, but knew she could come through it because of the person that she is, the amazing, courageous person that she is. We knew that she could do it. If anybody was going to get through this, Nicola was going to do it, and we were going to be there and we were going to help her.
Did you have concerns about how you could support her?
Well, nothing like this has ever happened to me before.
Sure.
For somebody so close to me. So that issue was, I've never had to deal with anything like that before. So
don't know what to say to her,
Yeah. What do you say? How do you act? And I just thought, I'm just going to be myself. I'm just, for Nicola, we have to be ourselves. If we're sitting there crying our eyes out, it's not going to help Nicola. We need to pick her up, we need to keep her up, we need to keep her strong, we need to do what she needs us to do and just be there for her.
Yeah.
What support did you think Nicola needed? That's maybe an unfair question, but you're faced with a very close colleague having got a major diagnosis.
Yeah.
So before Nicola came back, what did you think you would have needed to have done when she arrived through the door?
For me, I needed to get it out of my system before I seen her.
Right.
So I needed to have my cry. I needed to go through all the emotions that I needed to go through for myself, for her, before I seen her.
My goodness.
And once I seen her, we had a cry, we had a hug, and it was, right, let's do this, let's put ourselves together, let's all be strong. stand up together and get through it, you know.
Yeah, we talked about it and work on what we were gonna.
We had each other,
Yeah,
and we had
what
Jim
we're
as
gonna
well. The three of us would have talked together, so we had each other. So we were never at any stage on our own through anything. We also had our families who also know and love Nicola.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a work colleague. It's a best friend. You know,
Yes,
so
yes.
it's not even a work situation.
No.
So you would then advocate a scenario where your work colleagues are far better talking about it in advance? Maybe, Josie, I could ask you that, because you obviously have been as heavily involved in this as Donna has.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, we felt that we chatted about it. There's nothing that we can't talk about in here. That's a great thing about in here. And we chatted about it first. And so the important thing for us was that it was all about Nicola and not about work. Work was the last thing on our mind, actually.
Wow. Yes.
You know, I know we worked together and really that's our main relationship is being work, but that was the last thing that we were worried about. We were worried about Nicola.
Yes.
And how she was going to get on, and not about work or anything about work.
No.
And how was it when she walked through the door for the first time?
Emotional.
Yeah, your heart just, for me, my heart just sunk when I seen her knowing what was ahead.
Yeah.
But for Nicola, we both had to keep ourselves together like she wanted us to do, and we had our own time, have our cries and have our things, but around Nicola we had to be ourselves.
And you obviously find Jim supportive.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Jim would do anything for any of us.
Yeah.
That's
At the
very
end of
good.
the day,
Anything we needed, if we needed time off or anything at all, is never an issue. It's no problem at all.
Nicola, when you were off, was there regular contact, or did you find that useful? Did you not want to talk to folk from work?
Oh no, with regular contact. We've got our phones, we've got our iPads, we've got our computers, we've got everything. We kept in touch all the time. And again, with technology as it is today, you're not left behind, you're not left out of the loop. So you know exactly what's going on in the office, looking at emails and things like that. And that's a good thing. Now, it can be a bad thing in some situations where people can't switch off, and I understand that. But in this particular case, life was just going on the way it always was, and it hadn't really changed.
You just weren't in the office as often as you. That's very, very good.
Yeah.
So
I made an appearance now every now and again, and after I'd had my operation, my husband would have left me up and would have come up for a couple of hours or whatever. I would have made a guest appearance. And in those times, the buns would have come out and all the rest of it, and those were nice. But once I got back on the chemo and whatever, it was back to business.
You needed it for your
I did, beyond anything. And I mean, we're all different people, and people deal with things in different ways, and I certainly would never even have thought that I'd be dealing with this at all. But for me personally, being strong, being Nicola and not Nicola with cancer was a very, very big thing. So anybody, when you're answering a phone, you're talking to colleagues, you're talking to clients, whatever it is, how are you, Nicola? Great. How are you? It's not a situation, well, here, I've got a bit of a problem or whatever. And that was wonderful, because that left that behind, and you can pick that up then when you had to go back and have the chemotherapy when you went to the hospital.
During then your time going through this, was there any things that people said that you found the complete opposite of being supportive?
Well, people like to share anybody that they knew who had cancer. And their bad experiences of cancer, and the situation that maybe they didn't survive. Now, this guy died, and this was something that isn't helpful to someone who's going through cancer. Even a case where people would be saying that, well, it'll definitely come back again, or anybody who's cancer, it's going to end up coming back again, and all that. That's not helpful in any way. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. And certainly I would feel, and I've even been able to talk to people who have been diagnosed since and said, have a look at me. I was diagnosed with bowel cancer. I've been through everything that you're going to go through, and I'm come out the other end, and look how healthy I look. Please don't think it's a death sentence. In actual fact, there were many lovely things, because you appreciate every day that you're alive. You appreciate the people who are there for you. My lovely colleagues here. My husband was an absolute rock. He was fantastic. You appreciate all of those particular things an awful lot more, and sometimes you get a lot more out of those. So you can't say it was all bad, Some of the experience of it I could say was good, in as much as you appreciated things an awful lot more. Really, we should appreciate things a lot more when we're not ill, because you never know the time when it's going to be taken away from you.
This is maybe an unusual question, but I'd love for you to sort of tell us what support you thought you needed when you were just diagnosed, and now having come through it, what support did you really need? If you can see where the difference is there.
Well, there is a difference, because when I was first diagnosed, I felt isolated and wanted to be isolated. So my first thing, I'll not be into work. My first things was, that was the first thing I thought, I'll not be able to go into work. Now, I was no different after I'd had this test and got this diagnosis than I was the day before I walked in and didn't even know. So I was every bit as capable of doing work, but my first impression of that is, I'll not be at work. I actually thought in that particular case, I'll never be back to work. I've got cancer. And then when I got up the next day, I didn't go into work the next day. I sort of was coming to terms, but I was starting to strengthen up and saying, okay, right, let's get on with this. And I was starting to strengthen up in myself. Even the day after the diagnosis, I knew, because I have an elderly mum and I have a twin sister, I knew that if I kept myself together, possibly they'd be able to keep themselves together. So that was a very, very, very big thing for me. But my first thought about it was, I'll not be back at work. It was a complete opposite to what I really needed. Completely opposite. Because the next day, and I didn't come into work on the Monday, but I was there on the Tuesday. And in amongst my friends, in amongst the girls, had our hugs, we had a few cries and all the rest. And the fear of what was ahead would have come over me many a time. But being in work what I needed was totally different from my first reaction. Total opposite.
And it's clear then, having come through it, it's this support network and not avoiding it in a working environment that you find beneficial.
Absolutely. And it's not pity you're looking for. You're looking for getting on with your job, but if you make any mistakes or anything else, you know there's somebody there to pick them up.
Yes.
And you know that. And many's the one there was. So,
We're now joined by Jim Stewart. Jim's the owner of Training Solutions.
Jim, thanks for joining us and agreeing to give the employer's perspective. Nicola has spoken about the value of being able to work through your treatment, but you as a small business owner, you're faced with a different set of challenges, and I think it'll be enlightening to hear what they were. So could I begin, Jim, by asking you, how did you find out?
We discussed it in the office, and we knew Nicola was going for a colonoscopy, and she went off to have this on a Sunday. Now, on the particular Sunday, she phoned me about 4:30 on the Sunday afternoon, and I was at home doing some work in the garden. Now, Nicola was in a terrible state. She had just been told she got cancer. I felt good that she actually rang me to tell me.
Sure.
So my immediate reaction was to find out from her where she had the cancer. So she told me it was bowel cancer, and I tried to reassure her that the bowel cancer has a very good success rate. I know quite a number of people have been very successfully treated. So I told her it's going to be tough. She can get through it, and we will help her every step of the way. I also told her, don't even think about work. Try to get your head around what you face, and just keep us informed. We'll be here to help you.
Once you got off the phone call, what were your initial thoughts?
I was very concerned about Nicola. Nicola's a fantastic person. She is an absolutely fantastic trainer. She's been with us for about 8 years, and we're a very small team, and we all work together.
Sure.
So my main priority was her health and well-being. I then had to turn my thoughts about how we're going to manage the business, because Donna, who has been with us from the very start, was going off on maternity leave.
Oh my goodness.
A few months down the road. So I had to work out a plan of how we were going to manage this.
Sure. Tell me about that plan.
Well, it's difficult to replace someone as good as Nicola. Nicola does a lot of training for us. So I immediately had to rearrange all the training that she was scheduled to do. And we've got a good group of trainers, and I also took on some of the days that she was due to do it. So my thought was I needed a temporary person, because I was believing all through this that Nicola was coming back. So I brought in a university student who was studying business and marketing at Coleraine. Happened to be someone I knew quite well. So we actually brought 2 new people in from the 1st of August, one to replace Donna and one to help us to cover for Nicola. So Jordan and Marcia joined the 1st of August. Now Nicola contacted me after a few days when she got the word about her diagnosis, and she said she'd like to come back into work because she felt it would lift her mind a bit.
Yeah.
And I was delighted that she wanted to come in, but she was under no obligation to come in.
Sure.
So she came in and she tried to carry on whilst she was going for further tests. And this must have been very, very difficult for her, but we tried to help her. So finally she went for her surgery in July. After her surgery, I visited her 3 or 4 times at home to see how she was progressing. She wanted me to set up her computer at home that she could log in and keep up to date with what was going on. Now that's Nicola, didn't want to let us down. After she had gone through her surgery and recovered sufficiently, she wanted to come back to work. And yes, we were delighted again. She wanted to come in. She was under no obligation, but she did come back in again. The next step in her overall treatment was when she had recovered sufficiently and was strong enough, she was to have a series of chemo. And that's very hard.
Yeah.
I can remember the very first day she went. She said she didn't know what she was going to, how it was going to be, but she says when she got the chemo, it was the most painful thing she ever had to have. She, after the first session, she was very down and she was very sick, so I just kept in contact with her and I said, look, we're here if you need to talk to us, but don't worry about work. We don't want you to come to work. After the first week, she said she was feeling a bit better and she'd like to come in to work a few days, and we were very happy with that. So again, she came into work and I met with her and I discussed the arrangements, and we agreed she would not do any training. We also agreed that if anybody in the office had a cold or felt ill, they had to tell us, because Nicola couldn't be exposed to any risks because of being on chemo. So it turned out that through her set of chemo, she came in probably 2 weeks out of the 3. That was a bonus for us. She was very brave. She was really unbelievable that she could get through this.
The other interesting question there is, were there any other practical adjustments that you made? You know, I can see what you're saying. She predominantly was a trainer. She can't train. She can't come in if someone in the office is ill. Were there any other adjustments that you had to make?
But she could work from home, and when Donna went off in October, that put additional pressure on the rest of the team.
Yes.
We all more or less cancelled all our holidays, so we would be here. And as a small team, we do work for each other. Our 2 new members of staff fitted in really well. I think we've done remarkable. Everybody in the team done remarkable.
Sure.
It was a bonus when Nicola came in. So our aim was to get through this and not to have any negative impact on our customers.
And you've obviously successfully managed that.
Probably even better, when customers knew what Nicola was going through, they were more supportive of us. Our trainers were very supportive. Everybody in the organisation was very, very supportive.
That's very good. Looking back now, how do you think this whole experience has affected the business?
It has highlighted the importance of health and well-being, which I think is very important for employers to look after their staff. I mean, people say that your staff is your most important asset, but they don't practice that.
Yes.
Now, we're a small team and we can do that. I'm very concerned about the team and we work together. It's good to see Nicola doing so well. She's still got a journey to travel.
Sure.
We will be with her as best we can. Nicola's been fantastic for us. Our whole personality, her ability to train. So we want to be loyal to her too.
Jim, absolutely terrific. Could I just thank you for that input, and that's been very valuable. I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Nicola, turning back to you, we hear a lot of negativity about the NHS. Was that your experience?
Absolutely not. Everything just worked in its way. I was brought in to do the operation, had the operation done. Immediately they realised that the cancer was in the lymph nodes. I was sent to see the oncologist, who are fantastic people. They are so approachable.
One final question. We all talk about those around us when something unfortunate like this happens. How's your husband been, and how is he now?
He's absolutely fantastic. He has been an absolute rock and an absolute support from start to finish, and still is. And I was a very fortunate girl to have someone who's decent as that to look after me.
Nicola, can I say thanks for having the courage to talk to us, and for the courage you've clearly shown going through this. Also thanks to Donna and Josie for what you've said there. And and I would hope that the listeners will actually find this of benefit.
Yes. One other thing I would like to say to anyone is, if anyone feels that they have one symptom that they should check out with their GP, go and see the GP. Sure. You want to make sure that the treatment starts as soon as this transpires, so that you have a chance at a really good quality of life. Because today I'm feeling every bit as well as I was before all this started.
I think that's a terrific way to end. And again, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ernie.